Verbal versus nonverbal communication. What is verbal and nonverbal communication? Verbal communication is communication that involves the use of words or sounds. It can be spoken or written, and it includes visual communication such as sign language. Nonverbal communication is communication without words. It uses body language and gestures and includes the way we say something. Verbal communication is the most frequent type of communication, but it's easily misunderstood and also easily forgotten by the recipient. There's a huge opportunity for breakdown in communication, which can be life-altering for clients. How many times have you heard these words in your life? I thought I told you. Some examples of verbal communication are speaking, singing, messages from television or radio, looking on an iPad, or YouTube videos. Nonverbal communication can help your understanding or it can hinder it. The person needs to feel safe and comfortable in your space, and anything that hampers that can disrupt their ability to hear you and understand your meaning. Sometimes it's not what you say, but how you say it. For example, if you say, "I'll be right there," that communicates that you're willing to help. But if you say, "I'll be right there," that communicates frustration and annoyance. Saying the same thing in a different tone or emphasizing different words conveys a different meaning. When we're communicating with other people, we send messages with our body language. Other people receive these messages and interpret them. Body language includes the body's movements, facial expressions, and posture. Body language can express different attitudes or feelings, though sometimes they're not sending the message we want. For example, someone who is slouching in a chair versus someone who's sitting up straight. When you're slouching, you're sending the message that you're bored, tired, or hostile. But when you're sitting erect or sitting up straight, on the other hand, you're sending the message you're interested and you're respectful of the other person. Sometimes your client may say one thing but mean another. For example, if you ask your patient how they're feeling and they say, "I'm feeling fine," but they wince in pain, the client is sending two different messages. Their verbal communication is saying that they're fine, but their nonverbal communication is saying that they're in pain. Paying attention to nonverbal communication helps you give better care. Always communicate to your supervisor both verbal and nonverbal information. It's important that you're aware of your own verbal and nonverbal messages. For example, if you enter a client's home and say, "It's nice to see you today," but you don't smile or make eye contact, while your words are saying that it's nice to see them, your body language is saying that it's not. The client may interpret this message as that you're not happy to see them, even though that might not be the truth. When your client's verbal and nonverbal language is confusing, you must clarify it and ask for an explanation of the message. For example, for the person grimacing in pain, you could say, "You've just told me something I don't understand. Can you explain?" Or state what you observed and ask if the observation is correct. "I see you're smiling, but your body language suggests you're upset. Are you?" It's important to self-reflect and check in on yourself to tell if your nonverbal communication is sending the message you want. Examine your posture. Are you looming over them, or are you looking secretive and sneaky? Think about your head movements. Are you nodding your head when they're talking? What about your hand movements? These can be very distracting and may even be threatening to someone who's visually impaired or someone who's not used to them. What about your eye movements? Are you an eye roller, or do you have shifty eyes, or do you give too intense of eye contact? Do you have contacts and blink a lot, or do you wink a lot when you speak? Examine your facial expressions. Think about how you communicate with facial expressions. Do you think your style helps or hinders? What about body contact? Some people interact and touch others a lot, but some clients don't like it and find it intimidating. What about closeness? Are you a close talker, or do you maintain a good personal space?